everybody, here I am today with another video from the Inspiration team using some of the new Brutus Monroe products. Here I have made a Easter card using the new Candy Coat in pink. This is really a fun product. Here you can see it on white. It just looks amazing. Bits of glitter, little flecks of holographic film, I think, but just looks wonderful, smells yummy. So today I will be using the new stem set Bunny Hugs, and it does have coordinating dies, but I don't have those. And here it is again, the antique trellis, which I'll be using along with some of the embossing powders. So let's dive in. I'm using two rectangular dies here so that we can have a frame and an inner piece. I'm going to line them up just right and then run it through the die cutting machine. I'm holding it down with some washi tape so that it doesn't move while I die cut the frames. Here we go, and I trimmed it just right, so I actually ended up with two frames and an inner piece. So let's line up that inner piece on the stick and stamp mat, and then I'm going to put the stencil on it. Make sure to press down the edges of the stencil so that it doesn't move. And let's give a stir to the candy coats just so that it's all nice and ready. And apply it to the stencil. The stick and stamp mat makes it really easy. You can turn it around as you go. Here the glitter, you might feel as if it's coming off, but just dab it back on and it's not going to affect the way it will dry, so don't worry about it. I'm just going to cover the whole panel. You want to apply a generous coat, but again, making sure it's not too thick, otherwise it will take a while to dry. So here we are nearly done with covering up the stencil in pink candy coat. I'm being very careful towards the edges. I'm trying not to go into the stamp and stick mat. It doesn't matter. You can, even if it goes, you'll be able to clean up, but I'm trying to avoid that. Here comes the big reveal. I absolutely love how this looks on mirror cardstock. Look at that. While that dries a little bit, I'm going to go run and clean off the stencil and the palette knife. And let's put away the clean stencil back in the cover. And while this dries, let's prepare the other things. I'm going to use the eggs from the bunny set. So I have the three different Easter eggs here. I'm going to line them up on white cardstock. Now let's decide what embossing powder we shall use. I was debating the alabaster sparkle and then settled on the sterling. Here it is. So now let's get the cardstock ready. I'm going to apply some anti-static powder before I emboss with the embossing ink. Once it is stamped, I'm going to use the sterling silver embossing powder on the top, and then we'll heat set it. I noticed a few specks of embossing powder outside, so I'm just going to clean that up with a dry paintbrush before I heat set. Next, we're going to need 1.5 inches of vellum, a strip, so that we can stamp our sentiment on it. And here I'm using some distress ink in chipped sapphire. I'm going to stamp and emboss in clear embossing powder so that it is sealed over the vellum. Next, let's color the eggs. I'm going to color them with Copic markers. I'm trying to be careful not to touch too much of the embossed lines, otherwise they usually stain with the Copic markers, so I'm trying to be gentle over here. So I've finished coloring and I'm going to fussy cut these eggs out. Here we are, all done. I've kept the Copic coloring very simple. My panel wasn't dry, so I just used the heat tool to help it dry faster. Here it is, all nice and dry. The texture looks really nice. So I'm going to use a blue A2 size folded card base for this. And I have that frame here, outer frame. I'm going to glue it down with some Barely Art glue. Since this frame is very slim, I find that the nozzle tip really helps. And once that is done, I'm going to leave that aside and then get working with that strip of vellum. I want that torn edge look, so what I'm trying to do here is tearing the edges just a little bit to give that frayed kind of look to the strip of vellum. I'm going to do it on the top and the bottom. I'm just measuring here how much I'm going to need for the card. I don't want too much extra. I'm just going to fold over at the back and stick it down. I'm going to cut off the excess, turn the panel around, and on the back I'm going to glue it down. I'm just using that palette knife to give it a proper sharp edge so that it's easier to fold over. Here we go. And then I will also stick down the Easter eggs. I'm going to use some foam tape here so that the middle panel is raised for a dimensional look. That's our card for today. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if you liked the video. See you again soon.